Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. I'm going to talk about Doctor Who. That's not getting support from Disney, that the BBC can't afford it. We're going to look into it because there are conflicting stories, but we know that Doctor Who is not in a very good place right now. We know that they ended it with the 15th Doctor, or is that the 16th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa regenerating into Billie Piper, and Russell T Davies said there was no plan. He doesn't know what he's going to do with Billie Piper. He doesn't even know Billie Piper's the Doctor. Just wanted to put her in there, I guess, for whatever reason, because nothing matters. Nothing matters anymore. So we're going to talk about this. We're going to see if Doctor Who's getting canceled, not getting canceled. I think it's going to go on a lengthy hiatus, a multi-year hiatus, because it just doesn't benefit anybody to make any more of this god-awful show. They made a mockery of this show. They've retconned the Doctor's origin. It's just, nothing makes sense. I don't know, whatever. We're going to talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you have less than 3 days. You have 29 hours to back these orc pins on Kickstarter. Bad Orcs. Badorcs.com. And here are the prototypes. We should be getting these in pretty dang soon, shipping them out pretty quickly. I think for those of you who backed on Kickstarter, that's the second chance offer. You're probably looking at October. I want to say October, barring any international incidents that keep us from getting these pins in. But they look really good. They look really good in person. So check it out. Badorcs.com takes you directly to the Kickstarter page. Let's talk about this. I have to give a hat tip to Martin, who sent this over to me. It's coming from the Daily Mail, so take it for whatever it's worth, I guess, given the source. The BBC confirms the fate of Doctor Who amid fears that the science fiction hit would be axed due to plunging ratings and strained Disney Plus partnership. They confirmed that Doctor Who will not be going anywhere. Oh, no. Despite fears that the long-running show would be axed. Rumors of a potential axe began to circulate earlier this year when Scottish actor Ncuti Gatwa sensationally quit as the Doctor. It was reported at the time that plummeting viewing figures were behind the decision, as well as the BBC's strained relationship with Disney Plus for the program's global distribution. The corporation's chief content officer, Kate Phillips, told the Edinburgh Television Festival, rest assured, Doctor Who is going nowhere. No, that is a very accurate statement. Doctor Who is going nowhere. It's going nowhere fast. Disney has been a great partnership and it continues with the war between the land and the sea, but going forward, with or without Disney, Doctor Who will still be on the BBC. Well, that was a duh. Nobody thought that Doctor Who was going to leave the BBC. The question is whether or not Disney would help bankroll more of the show and whether or not the show would be back or if it would go on a lengthy hiatus. It seems like they're dancing around the issue. The TARDIS is going nowhere. The whole series is going nowhere. Lindsay Salt, the director of Scripted at the BBC, said the broadcaster remains committed to the program. As reported back in April, around 2 million people were watching Doctor Who in April, 2.2 million less than when Jodie Whittaker, the previous Time Lord, was in the role. It's worth noting, however, that at its peak from the 60s to the 80s, the show was watched by a whopping 13 million people. Now that, I don't know if that's really a fair comparison, because back then, people were watching network TV. I guess the BBC would be the equivalent of US network television. So everybody watched the same 5 shows, right? And even when Doctor Who wasn't doing very well in the 80s, there were still quite a few people watching it just because they would just leave the telly on and watch Doctor Who. Now, I do know that the last time we saw numbers like that were like during the Matt Smith era. And even then, I don't know if they were that high. I do know that they had 10 or 11 million people tune in for the first episode of Jodie Whittaker's run, because, it was kind of the novelty, I think, of it. Like, oh, the Doctor's going to be a woman now. Well, that's something a lot of people want to see. They want to see if it's a huge disaster or what. And actually, the biggest crime was that it was boring. It was a very boring run. I thought Jodie Whittaker's run was incredibly boring, incredibly preachy, and a lot of people tuned out. And you could see, like, we went from like 10 million people watching Jodie Whittaker down to like 3 or 4 million by the end of that season. At the time of Ncuti's departure, the BBC refused to comment on the future of the show, but denied rumors that he had been axed. So they dance around the issue. Like, my understanding is he left because he was trying to salvage his career and he knew the show was in the gutter. And if he would get the reputation for being the guy who destroyed Doctor Who, it's going to follow him around wherever he wants to go. Whilst we never comment on the future of the Doctor, any suggestion that Ncuti Gatwa has been axed is pure fiction. Further fuel was added to the speculative fire when Doctor Who's long-running showrunner Russell T Davies said in June, "We don't know what's happening yet." I think Disney is out. I think Disney is out for 100% certain. Now, I mean, that doesn't mean it's the end of the show, but it means it's not going to look as good. And I think they need a co-producer to keep this thing on. Now, I've heard that they're shopping it around maybe Amazon or Netflix or something, but they really have got to go back to what works. I mean, it's not hard. It's really not hard to figure Doctor Who out. And I honestly thought that bringing Russell T Davies back would course correct. And it actually made things worse because he's not the same person he was 20 years ago. Somehow Doctor Who got much, much worse. Following Ncuti's departure, Billie Piper sensationally joined the show as the Doctor after previously playing his companion, Rose Tyler. She is the second woman to play the role after Jodie Whittaker. We don't know if Billie Piper is actually the Doctor. They never said Billie Piper's the Doctor. In fact, Russell T Davies doesn't even know if Billie Piper's the Doctor. He just put her in there because, just because. It's some big brain energy there, right? We're just gonna put Billie Piper in just because, and we don't even know if we're getting renewed. So what the hell? I think he figured, well, he started with Rose Tyler, he'll end with Rose Tyler. I'm thinking it's the moment or Bad Wolf or something, but whatever. She said in the statement about this departure, "This journey has been one that I will never forget and a role that will be part of me forever. Unfortunately, it's going to follow you around forever." There are no words to describe what feels like to be cast as the Doctor, nor are there words to explain what feels like to be accepted into this iconic role. It's in the 16th season since the show returned in 2005, and the 42nd season since it began all the way back in 1963. It's weird how the BBC considers a season like 4 episodes, What are the comments like here? "Trust the BBC to screw up a good thing. Doctor Who was and is a white male." Okay, there we go. "Woke DEI by." Boy, these are great comments. So I don't think people are coming back. They would have to, for Doctor Who, look, I think the BBC will give Doctor Who another shot for 100%. What they're not saying is Doctor Who will be back next fall or next year or whatever. They said it's probably going to be on hiatus. Okay, so you got to read between the lines here. It feels to me like it's done as a co-production with Disney, and it's probably done for a couple of years. I mean, they put on hiatus, quote unquote hiatus, before, and that lasted 16 years. Well, I guess not 16 if you count the movie, but you know what I'm saying. Like they're being very selective with the wording. And same with Ncuti Gatwa. Like, people knew he was out. They're like, well, it's pure fiction that we fired him. No, but he was still out, right? So Russell T Davies just a week ago said he gave a hilariously cryptic response when asked about the show's future. "Behave," he said. "Behave." He said he replied that to the big issue when questioned about what's next for Doctor Who. He doesn't know. Fair enough. He also previously stated he doesn't know what's happening yet, and hopefully he'll have news soon. I don't think he's going to be back. I think they're going to have to rest it. And they're going to have to give it another go. And I'm going to be honest. I think they're going to have to go with a more traditional Doctor to win people back. I mean, I get that they want to be diverse and inclusive, but I don't think it worked very well. And I think people are going to be gun shy unless they bring a more traditional Doctor back. And I think they're also going to have to retcon the Timeless Children, because that has done more damage to Doctor Who, I think, than even the casting. I mean, just retconning it so the Doctor's not even a Time Lord. That was an idiotic decision. I can't believe that they let it stick. I can't believe that Russell T Davies didn't undo that. But, he's friends with Chibnall, so of course he wasn't going to step on any toes. But I think they're going to have to do basically if not a hard reset, they're going to have to do a soft reboot and be like, look, let's reintroduce the Doctor, reintroduce the concept, try not to confuse people with too many storylines that reference older shows, kind of like Davies did at the beginning, where you could watch 2005 Doctor Who, having never watched any Doctor Who before, and you knew what was going on, and he would, slowly reintroduce classic monsters and storylines and stuff like that. And that's what they said they were going to do at the Disney Plus show, and they didn't. They really didn't. It was really, there were a lot of member berries there, and it really did call back to all the new Who especially, and even classic Who. And it was, there were some pretty deep cuts in there. I think they were executed poorly, but it was not accessible for new audiences. And I think just go back to the Doctor in the TARDIS, and that's it. That's what you're gonna have to do. So there we go. Doctor Who is going nowhere, and that is 100% true. The show is going nowhere. They're going nowhere fast. Again, check out badworks.com. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Attention, stupid humans. All orcs are evil, just like Gary Gygax and Professor Tolkien warned you. Series 1 of these orc enamel pins are on Kickstarter again for a very limited time. Pick your clan, join the Horde, and cause some mayhem. Go to badorcs.com. That's badorcs.com.